Okay, I'm going to record this meeting and the recording will be published and you can access it later once it is available. And of course, this can be used for training purposes. Okay, let's go into the Hybrid Cloud Management X 24.2 Technical Awareness webinar. And this is for, as I mentioned, the 24.2 release, which is a major release. This is again a SaaS as well as the on-premise release. And of course, we have like a good amount of agenda today. And before that, as you all know, the product is not yet released. I mean, the version is not yet released. So that's why I'm flashing this disclaimer. So we have a few customers and partners, and we will be also sharing this with the partners and customers just to make sure that they read this disclaimer. Okay, today we are going to see the cloud management FinOps capability features and the design and deploy features. And first, I'm going to showcase the new set of capabilities which comes with the enhancements in the area of showback and the recommendations, again, the rate recommendation and the usage recommendation. And I'll be moving into the design and deploy capability where we have a couple of enhancements where we have upgraded our service designs that we ship out of the box to make sure that the IT operations team as well as the FinOps team can now enforce the tag compliancy, which means they can actually make sure that the users are actually setting the tags every time whenever they are requesting for a service. And at the same time, these tags will go stored into the UCMDB that again, I'll be showing it. So pretty much, this is what we're going to cover. So again, like I mentioned, the recording will be available for you, especially for the partners and the internet employees. And I'm going to skip all this stuff and directly go into the main slide. But before I dive into the actual agenda demos, or I mean, even before I start the presentation, so you all understand the reactive and the proactive cost control, and pretty much the FinOps covers the reactive cost control in terms of giving you the visibility into the cloud spend, who is spending where, what, and how much, everything pretty much, you'll be able to see. And you can also filter based on the tags, and there are tons of filters that are available out of the box, and there are a number of reports we provide out of the box. And of course, there is also external report BI tool integration. So using these, of course, you should be able to track, and there is also built-in optimization capability, which primarily helps you to optimize by providing the rate-based recommendation and right-sizing recommendation. When I mean rate-based recommendation, the commitment-based discounts plans, which includes the RIs and SPs, and the usage-based recommendations are nothing but the right-sizing recommendation, which can help you to identify the waste and help you to find out if the recommendations that are aggregated, should you need to take any action or should you need to discard. And you pretty much will be able to understand, what if you delete a particular VM, you will be able to save some budget or save some costs. At the same time, there is also RA and SP comes with what if modeler, which helps you to find a optimal rate and optimal number of instances. So pretty much, it helps as a 360-degree way to control the cost. And there is also an option to execute the actions through our built-in operation orchestration flows. And if the resources are provisioned using the HCMX, well, there is an option for you to use the subscriber options or the user options, we call it as, to right size the deployed resources or even delete it or maybe stop it or shut down, and you can do a lot more, right? Pretty much. So on the other side, proactive cost control. Um, Again, the cost control is one aspect, but at the same time, we also need to understand that the cost allocation also is an important aspect, because for the finance team, in order for them to charge back, the cost allocation model is really important, because they generally track the cloud spend using the tags that the resource comes with. so that they will be able to pull the report based on the, let's say, the business unit or maybe the work group. So it is very essential and important and a prerequisite in order for the finance team to charge back or do some cost allocation through the tax. And as a FinOps vendor tool or any other vendor FinOps vendor tool, they should support the tag compliancy and tag enforcement. Pretty much that's what we know we are going to cover. And of course, the rest all are the option to control the waste by providing the options for the user to select the region that are approved by the IT operations team, select the instance sizes that are only approved from the IT operations team or FinOps team, and where you need to deploy and what services you got to pick. So pretty much you will have a governance guardrail around your request. And of course, you will also get the price tag if the admin has set any of the unit prices for the individual offerings, right? And once a subscription gets created as part of the request, of course, you will be able to set a scale in and scale out policy, whether on, let's say, Wednesday and Thursday, I need to scale out because there's going to be a number of requests that are going to come in. So I need to satisfy those requests. On the other side, for the rest of the days, I want to bring down the services. So I should be able to set the policy accordingly. And maybe during the weekend, I should stop the services in order for me to save some cost. So you can pretty much do most of the automation out of the box using the HCMX cloud management capability, which we pretty much make it, bring it under the proactive cost control. Well, so that is, the current USPs that we are, offering to our customers. So what is new in 24.2? What are the pain points that we address? In this release, we are introducing the SureBack reports targeting the managed service providers. We have a good amount of customers who are asking for the Azure managed MSP reports, which is actually called as MPA, which is Microsoft Partner Agreement based report. So without this, they won't be able to track it, or they have to use the native portal. Again, when you use the native portal, you got to switch between multiple different cloud native portals, and that's a problem we solve by aggregating all the data and then producing a number of reports. But as a managed service provider, if I have to track my billing, in the sense whatever the service that I'm offering to my customers using the public cloud, especially the Azure, I should be able to track it in one single UI where I'm already tracking other cloud providers. And this won't be efficient if I don't see everything in one single view. Otherwise, I'll have to jump between multiple portals. So that's what the problem that we hear from our MSPs who are offering the services using the Azure MPA based agreement. On the other side, the FinOps practitioner, well, the FinOps practitioner helps the engineering team to save some cost by helping them identify the best commitment plans. For example, as I mentioned, the savings plan for AWS or even savings plan for Azure. It's all good, but the Azure also offers the other CBDs, the commitment-based discounts, like for example, the reserved instance recommendation. So why do I care? I mean, I already get the recommendations from the public cloud. Why should I use the tool? Well, the problem here is like I need to go check the past historical data, how much my team used the already existing coverage, already existing plans like SPs or RIs, and what is the usage overall, even using the on-demand. So I need to do a lot of math. First of all, I need to get access to the historical data, maybe 30 days or 60 days, and I need to do my own math in order to check how much was already covered with the existing SPs and RIs, and how much was paid through the on-demand, which is quite costly. Then I probably may have to find a tool which can help me identify what should I commit, and then should I need to commit 50% of already existing usage, or should I need to commit for 70%? So generally I have to do this exercise with every other team, and that takes a huge amount of time, and that delays the opportunity to save, and that result into the waste, right? So that is what I, as a FinOps practitioner or the engineering team manager, go through the pain every time, and that's one of the reason, they look for a tool which can help them avoid and help them find a optimal rate by using some modeler. And that's the same thing we are also introducing for Azure Enterprise Agreement RA, where we already support for savings plan and I mean AWS savings plan and Azure savings plan, and we are now introducing it for the um, enterprise account RI. Okay, so for the CBDs, it's all good in the sense like, the problem is stated, but what if I need to find ways to cut the cloud waste, right? So that's also an important aspect, because every time whenever I go find some opportunity to optimize my CBD through the CBD plans, I also need to find ways to right size. Well, the product already gives me some options to identify right sizing based on the compute that I've deployed, but there are a lot of disks that are out there. And many times if I provision something, well, I have to add the disks. And when I deprovision, automatically those disks won't get deleted, because it's not like, there is a miss or a gap from these cloud providers. Well, they give us the flexibility so that the disks can be uh, taken. I mean, the disk can be, taken a backup where you can attach the disk to any other VM, or you may want to store something very important information which you want to leverage later point in time. So these cloud vendors provides those flexibility. But as a developer, should I need to care, because I don't really store anything in that disk, so I should ensure that I have to delete this disk so that my cost will not get continue to incur every day or every week. So typically what I do as a developer, I generally leave the disk uh, unassociated, idle, and then I go only delete the instances, and then I close the console, right? Which is not the right thing to do. And as a FinOps practitioner, I get tons of recommendations from the cloud providers like Azure, where I have like hundreds or thousands of disks that are unassociated. Maybe it's all valid, or maybe most of it are not valid. So, but they need to analyze and find out whether these disks can be deleted. And in order to do that, I need to get visibility into those disks. What is the cost incurred, and uh, how long the disks were, available, and so on information, so that I should be able to identify whether I should go delete it because I'm not going to use it, and what was the what was the cost incurred, and everything I should be able to see it in one single pane of glass. And that's exactly I'm looking out for a tool which should help me address all these data points in order for me to take an action. So these are all the things that you will see in our today's demo, where I'll be showing how HMX FinOps module efficiently help addressing these use cases in a more effective way, and at the same time making sure that they also get the right modeler to take some informed decisions. And you are pretty much aware of it. So let me move on to the cloud management module. So on the other side of the wall, which is the IT operations team, well, their day in day out job is to offer the PaaS services or IaaS services. I mean, they will generally develop the services based on the private and public cloud. And if you look at, as I mentioned, right, how do I do the cost allocation um, when I'm doing a monthly audit or monthly billing or a chargeback? Well, as a finance team, I want to make sure that uh, these resources that are created by the application team or engineering team, they should have applied the tax, so that I should be able to filter, and then I can do the right cost allocation. Otherwise, everything will become a shared cost, and the shared cost is the biggest challenge in every other enterprise to identify how do I divide this. Sometimes if I'm not allocating or associating the tag, that may go into the shared cost, where someone will be paying for my consumption, which ideally should not. So that's becoming a difficult task for every other enterprise. And if you go to the FinOps.org, you will find similar concerns raised, and there are a number of ways people address those. But we have to do some proactive way to address this, not in a reactive way. So generally, the finance team asks the IT operations to make sure that if they are offering anything on the service portal, so the tax should be enforced. So there should be a compliance policy where they need to check if tax are set or not, and accordingly the warning should be presented to the end users when they are requesting for a service. On the other side, uh, whatever the tax that the user provides as an input, I as an IT operations manager or the automation manager, I should make sure that the right set of tools are there in order for me to take those tags and put it into some common database, so that next time when I introduce some new standardized tags, well, today my problem is like whenever I introduce some new standardized tags, I got to go and check whether the existing tags that are already available or attached to the resources are compliant to the new standard tags. And if it is not, then I probably may want to go enrich it. Or what if the existing standardized tags are not not sorry, the existing tags that are already available with every other resources are not matching to the existing standards that IT wants us to follow, right? So typically these complexities will come whenever the IT, the enterprise team is in the what do you call in the crawlers or in the walkers, because they try to infuse a new set of policies, new set of tags, and they discover a lot of things for them to understand how well they can actually slice and dice the data and then associate with the different teams. So generally, create a new set of standardization, and that will result into the non-compliance of the existing tags, which should be identified and remediated. And in the past demos, we also showcased how the built-in CMDB policy engine can help identify the non-compliance resources and help also remediate by attaching the tags using the automation workflows. Well, I'm going to show both these demos and then make sure that you're all aware of these capabilities. So yeah, pretty much I explained the problem and the solution, and I'm going to offline share this deck. Um, so when it comes to the partner agreement based, the integration, which is MPA based integration, this is the hierarchy that they generally follow. There is a billing account, and there is a billing profile, which is essentially for the currency, wherein, for example, one billing profile can manage set of customers who are paying using the US dollars. On the other side, there are a set of customers who must be paying through the different, I mean, paying through euros or different rupees, whatever that their standard way of uh, uh, paying to the cloud vendors, right? Pretty much. So that is how the profile is being differentiated from one another. And then each of the customers will have their own subscriptions, and beneath the subscription, everything is same. Like you'll have a resource group, and underneath you will have set of services. So we have now integrated with this hierarchical model, and then we have provided some reports. So one thing is like this, we have introduced as a beta feature. Please note that this is the beta feature because we want to ensure that we take one step at a time. In the sense, we provide the solution so that the partners can deploy, test it, and probably give us some feedback, and then we will be able to release it as a GA. So I think that is pretty much I wanted to cover using the slides. Now I can go into the, I can go into the demo mode, and then I can probably showcase all the demos. So let me dive into, yeah. Okay. So with respect to the MPA integration, so we will find the cloud cost provider integration in our provider sections, where if you go here, you will find the, sorry. Yeah. So you see that there are a number of integrations, and Here, if you look at, I have an option to select the enterprise agreement, MCA or MPA. We are supporting EA as a supported integration, and MCA is beta, and now MPA is also a beta integration, to make sure that we are getting enough information, and then we will introduce all the supporting capability for the customers to use it in the production. Pretty much like, we have to give the billing account ID, and the application that they create in the Azure is what we need to configure, which is pretty much the client ID, client secret, directory ID, and the path to the Azure blob. As you all know from the last release, we switched our cost path, meaning where the billing data exists. It's no longer the API based. From last release onwards, the customer should store the billing data in the Azure blob, and using which we retrieve the data and then we put it in our vertical database. Pretty much the AWS S3 concepts is what the Azure have given us the guidance. So integration looks similar. But the reports, again, the reports are also similar as you see on the screen. So if you look at, we have a different set of reports like billing account name, billing profile, and you will also see pretty much the same set of reports that are applicable for EA and MCA. So here by product, and you see that there are products that you will be able to track, and filter also. You will see everything similar to what the other agreements, meaning the MCA or EA agreements provide, right? So here I can filter based on the account name, the profile name, and even the subscription name, so that I can get to the data that I want to look. And at the same time, if I want to save, let's say for example, I want to see only these two, I can just select this, and then I can save this as a view. So the next time I come over here, only that view will be applicable. And when I set this view, let's say I'm setting it as Alex view. Again, this is an existing capability, nothing new in 24.2, but I'm just making sure that you're aware of this, and it is even applicable for this MPA feature. So now I set it, and if I go into the next report, that view gets carried forward, and I am able to see that the filters are already applied and get to see the data that I'm supposed to see. So that's the MPA reports. So yeah, once we upgrade the SaaS form 24.2, I believe the trial form should give you access to the MPA, and even of course the production also, and we can provide access to the customers. So that's pretty much with the MPA. So let's move on to the insights. So if I go into the insights, I'm sorry, there is some yeah, anyway, never mind. So in the insights layer, like I mentioned, right, starting off this meeting, we almost cover pretty much the commitment-based discounts. So for example, here we have AWS savings plan and Azure savings plan, and you're able to use the what if modeler to identify the optimal rate. And in the last release, we also introduced the portfolio concept, where the customers should be able to see the existing savings plan and the realized savings, and pretty much like everything that I want to understand. What is the current status of my already purchased savings plan? Say, for example, it even provides information if the savings plan is about to expire, and when it is going to expire. It shows like by 4/17 it will expire. So as a FinOps practitioner or the engineering manager, I can look into this. I can decide whether I should go renew if at all something is about to expire, or if it is already expired. This is the page I have to come and go and find out if I should go back and check with my practitioner, the centralized CCOE team, to ensure that they purchase commitment based plan, like savings plan in particular, right? So pretty much this is what we already offer. And in this release, we are introducing the Azure integration, like I mentioned, the Azure RI, similar to AWS. So what are the options I've got here? I have an option to select the scope, shared or single. Shared is pretty much, it'll be applicable for the subscriptions that are part of that account scope. And the single is, as you must be already aware, it's actually associated with the subscription. And I have an option to select the term which is like 1 year or 3 year, and I can even go back to 30 days or 60 days to find out the recommendations that are getting populated. So if I look at, I see that there are a number of recommendations that have come in, and I can just select one of this. And if you look at, I have an option to I'm sorry, I'm trying to see if I can get everything in one single screen, but anyway, never mind. So if you look at, uh, there are existing savings plans that covers this particular subscription. So this is the subscription. Again, all these are demo data. So when you have access to our trial instance, you will be able to get this demo data. So if you look at, in this account subscription one, there are existing savings plan which is daily covering almost like close to like what 80 average if I take it for the last 60 days. But there are in a huge on demand usage, and there is also a lot of spikes across the last 60 days, which clearly tells me that I got to really go purchase more number of instances in order to cover the usage based on my, of course, the historical usage what I see here. And so the current monthly spend is like what $6,000 or dollars, and in total I have like what some $200. But what if I purchase additional instances? How much I'm going to save, and what how many number of instances I got to go purchase for a particular instance size, right? So this is the instance size I'm supposed to purchase based on the recommendation that I've got. So uh, in order to do that, again, like I mentioned, I can go create an Excel sheet and do a math. But imagine if I have to push this information to a sheet and then identify the existing savings plan, or maybe there could be reserved instances. So that's going to be a nightmare if I have to go back to my portal, or if I have to go bug my FinOps practitioner to get all this data. So that's the primary thing that we are helping with the customers to avoid these kind of exercises just by introducing this modular tool where, so imagine if I want to purchase, let's say, the 5 instances, which is close to what is suggested. So if I take 5 or 6, it is giving me an estimated saving of like 60K, which is great. And it drastically reduced the effective monthly spend from 6,000 to 4,000. All good. And you see there is a significant change in the price when I selected number 6. I mean to say the number of instances I'm going to purchase 6. So there is a drastic change. So I can even go beyond this to say, let's say maybe 9 or 10. So let's keep it 8. So this again gives me a very good saving. So if I can stop here, and then if I go back to the details, so this gives me what will be my amortized monthly cost. Pretty much that's what I'll get to see, right? Because when I request to purchase this RIs, meaning when I raise a request to my centralized team who's helping me every month or every quarter to purchase a savings plan, I got to tell them like how many instances they got to purchase for this instance type, right? So and at the same time they will be charging back on a starting of the month or the day they purchase this, but that is the actual cost. But here I need to understand how much it is going to uh, I mean to say how much they're going to charge me. I mean the central team, how much they're going to charge me when they do the amortization, right? So this is the number that I get to see. So how does it benefit me, right? So I'm able to visualize what is the number of instance I need to commit to, and what will be my monthly amortized cost, and in total what is my purchase, right? I mean the price, right? So pretty much I'm able to see everything. Now I can go click off this button which will take me to the Azure portal, and then land into the place where I can go click of a button and purchase it. Of course, I'm not, if I'm a practitioner or a part of a centralized CCOE team, well, I can go do it on my own. But if I'm an engineer, of course, there should be a workflow, and that will take me through the process and get the approvals from a manager, and then it will land into uh, the centralized CCOE team, who will purchase the reserved instances on behalf of me. Well, you might ask, okay, are we not having such a capability? Well, the good news is we are building, again, it's a roadmap item with a regular disclaimer. We are building the workflow automation to take these, these recommendation. Again, I'm just reiterating, it's a roadmap and not associating with any of the recommendation in particular. But in general, if you take it, we can take this recommendation, be it a usage or a rate, or yeah, pretty much both. We can take these through the workflow automation and then get the necessary approvals and then make it land in the CCU, I mean, the centralized CCUA team bucket, so that they will act on it pretty much, right? So, well, hopefully I'll be able to cover this in the next technical awareness webinar. So if I look at, right, overall, I get to see the um, number of number of RIs, RI-based recommendations. When I log in as engineering manager, I will be able to see what I'm supposed to see, because there is an RBAC associated. So I'll be able to see the recommendations, and I can get a nice metric over here to see what is my current on-demand spend, and what if I purchase, right, with the based on the recommendation that has come in. So this is what will be my estimated spend, and this much is what I can save, right, pretty much as you see on the screen. So this gives me an indicator that, okay, I mean, I can now, I'm motivated to go take an action by selecting the recommendation and then going ahead and purchasing it. So all you need to understand is like the data points that we offer to our customers to make some informed decisions, and making sure that they take an action, basically. So that's pretty much with the Azure RI. And we also have expanded our usage optimization, where in the 24.1 release, we introduced the compute recommendations, which gives a very nice UI to tell the user, okay, this is what you have currently opted to, but what if you move right size to XLE from XLE 4x large into 2x large? Okay, well, your CPU utilization is going to increase, and your memory also will increase. Of course, if you install the CloudWatch agent, you'll be able to see the memory utilization. But what if I choose, a simple X large? So you see that there is CPU utilization getting increased, and then pretty much, I'll be able to see the tax associated, and even if you look at, there is a savings plan coverage for these instances, which means the savings is going to be doubling here, because if I give up this instance size where I have already purchased, well, it's not going to go waste, because there will always be a request in any organization for this instance size, which can be given to those requests, and I can go get associated if I move my instance size to any one of these, where the existing savings plan and RX can possibly cover those. So it's not only by right sizing I'm able to save, but at the same time, if I give away my coverage to some other team or teams who have put their request for this, they will be able to cover for their future usage. Again, this feature already available from 24.1. I'm just refreshing your memory. So in this release, in this 24.2, we are introducing the disks or storage recommendation. So let's see what I see here. So I see there are like 33 disks that are unattached, and for the last 30 days, of course, this is coming for the last 30 days. And I see that there are there are number of unattached I'm sorry. So there are number of unattached disks, like for example, here it is, 4 more than a year, and within or less than a year, there are like 29. And potential savings. If I go delete these disks, potentially I can save like $432. And for example, if I have to calculate from the time when I stopped using this disks, well, it clearly shows that there are $1,000. There is $1,000 I could have saved, or I wasted it, right? I mean, we will leave this to the user's interpretation, whether this is a waste or it is a potential saving they could have achieved by deleting the disks, right? Pretty much the metrics that we want to show so that the user will understand. But let's see what is that we are providing to the to understand the details. Well, we give the subscription. Well, if I'm an engineering lead, I will see, like I mentioned, what I'm supposed to see based on the subscription that I have, and the disks. And I see that I have unattached disk, and the recommendation is to delete. Yes. And there is also the list of groups that I own. It automatically brings that information and where this disk is currently located. So imagine if I have to go look into these disks that are unassociated in direct native portal, it takes ages for me, at least, if I have to go browse through different regions or browse through different resource groups, it is going to take a good amount of time. Instead, what we are doing here, the user can just simply log in and they can see everything in one single pane of glass, and they will also be able to see the details of the disk, like what is the size, storage type, what is the potential savings, well, if you delete this, and how many days it was left unattached, and cost for the unattached days, which is again a gamification, or again to tell you that yeah, you must be wasting, or maybe you purposely kept it, yeah, you can discard it. Or if you forgot to delete it, well, you got to understand there is a $81 which you missed to save, right? So pretty much, we wanted to provide necessary information for the user to take an action, uh, and ability to even deep dive to find out whether they need to discard it, right? I mean, it can go anyway, both ways. So, and if I have to share this, like if I'm an MSP and if I have to share this, I can always download this as an Excel sheet, and then, well, I can share it with my customer. Again, we are providing the RBAC where the user logs in, they will see their own resources. But in certain cases, the MSPs, if they want to keep these data only to themselves, and if they download and if they want to, let's say, share it with their stakeholders or customers, they can also do it by downloading using this download icon. So I think that is pretty much on the FinOps capability. Let's switch the gear towards the cloud capability. So if you have any questions, please put it in the Q&A section, or you can even put it in the chat. I'll be able to take it up. And if I have got my team over here, probably they would have already answered it. Never mind, I can check in, respond to those queries. So let's switch to the cloud management. So what is that we have introduced? As I stated, the problem, right? The cost allocation, which is an important piece in any chargeback mechanism. And for the cost allocation to work efficiently, well, you need to have the resources with the tax, the right set of tax. It's not just tax, the right set of tax needs to be associated. And that's exactly we wanted to, help our customers to make sure that whenever, at least whenever they're using the HCMX as a best practice, we make sure that they are enforcing the tax. So there are two types, right? Well, as a, I mean, in an IT enterprise or in any enterprise organization, there could be set of tax which I want to make it available for every other resources, irrespective of whether the user is giving it or not. I want to make sure that the tax are associated, right? Pretty much. And there are tax, well, as a user, I want to apply. Well, we already are providing an option for the customers to do that. So that is what I want to show you here. Like here, if you look at, I'm selecting the AWS, and we have introduced the tag enforcement across AWS, Azure, and GCP for the record. So we have introduced for all these cloud providers to make sure that we are one multi-cloud, and we are having parity feature free we know from the fact that the customers use more than 2 clouds or more than at least 2 clouds. So we want to ensure that everyone uses our product in a decent way across multiple cloud integrations. So here, if you look at I have the same form. Again, I'm not going to go too much detail into like what I've set in these request form. I can directly go into the tax section. So this is the new sections that we've introduced where as an IT admin, I can add these tags like business unit, the product name, product ID, environment. So when I request for the service, by default, all these tags, right, whatever I'm selecting here will get automatically applied. And there are a number of values, of course, unique to a particular group. I can always display what should be part of the list. I can always choose. And these are all the information that I can present so that if you look at these are all mandatory properties. So without this, I cannot submit. So I have to give these tags more importantly, as I mentioned, giving that, I mean, applying the tax is not a big deal, but again, it's a big deal, but you need to apply the right set of tax. So here, if you look at the values are also populated for these business unit, product name, and so on, so thing. Again, these are all for the demo purposes we have added, but we have the framework where the customers can use the same framework to apply this tax. And in the previous version, we introduced an option for the customers to apply our own tax. Say, for example, here I have a way, thanks to the cookies, it's actually populating. Well, here, if you look at these are the keys and these are the values that I want to set. Well, it's all now applied, and I can now go ahead and submit this. Well, it's going to cost me, so I'm not going to do it. I can show what is already available, which means I just deployed a couple of instances before this demo. I'm sorry, before this meeting. So let me go show those instances. So this is the section where you should be able to see the tax that you applied. So you see that these are the tax that I've already applied. The product ID, the owner, again under who created this. Pretty much like I should be able to. So the same tax, if I am able to see it in the showback reports, well, that's so easy for me to go locate who created this resource, and I'll be super happy if it is not going to be part of the shared cost where someone is going to pay or I need to pay for someone, right? So that everything can be avoided here by just simply following these compliance rules, especially the tag compliance. And again, if I go to the, let's say, if I go to the AWS instance, so whatever I've applied over here, you should see those information are automatically set. So it's not a magic. Behind the screen, we use the APIs, and we have a team who actually created the record integration, which makes sure that the tags are applied for every of the resources that we apply or set, right? So likewise, if I go to the Azure, again, it's pretty much the same form that I showed. I can go to the Azure and manage service instance and go into the option. So here, if you look at the same set of key value pairs, the tags that are applied over here, and there are tags that are available which the product by itself apply. Say for example, the CA instance ID, the component ID. It also understands who is requesting for the service, and it will automatically bring the email ID and then store it. For instance, if the customer forgot to put anything on their own, say for example, the custom tags, if I forgot to add my owner and I'm the one who's requesting, well, the product captures it. So that is the intelligence that we are offering to our customers apart from the mandatory tags. So well, yeah, GCP is pretty much the same. So we don't need to go every other page. Okay, so this is all good. Like we have provided the enforcement, and the IT team can enforce it now, and the user cannot skip it. They have to now set the tags. All good. Now on the other side, once I get the tags, well, moreover, it's not going to be available, as I mentioned, only in the subscription page. It will be stored in the UCMDB. where I should be able to query those. Let's say, for example, here I want to add a condition. Let's say if I want to query tag, get me the list of VMs the VMs do not have any tags. So let me go set it as null, and at the same time, again, I've selected the node as the type, so I don't want to bring the on-premise VMs. So I want to make sure that I am bringing only the public cloud is not null, and then I'm setting this condition, and then now I go check if I have some instances. Yeah, these are all the cloud instances. Good. Let me go search for the tag. So if I, yeah, you see that there are number of cloud instances which are already deployed where there are no tags at all. So I can just simply download this, and or maybe I can schedule using the reporting scheduler, and then directly send this to the respective team so that they understand these are the non-compliance items and they have to use the automation, or I mean, maybe it's their choice. They can go directly log into the portal and then they can apply, or maybe they can use some automation, because we provide number of workflows for the customers to create their own automation, or maybe use a simple offering to apply the tax, right? So we give all the toolkits for them to utilize, and of course in the roadmap we have a way for them to apply the tax mass. I mean in the mass. Uh, or in a batch way, pretty much. Again, I don't want to talk too much on the roadmap. So let me show you another condition where the product. So this is the condition where I have added, where it shows the list of instances that there are no attacks at all. Let me go to the condition. So I want to bring that resources now with the tags. So let me apply this and then show the instances. And let me see if I can bring the columns. Okay, there you go. So here, if you look at these are the instances that I created, and I see there are good amount of tags that are applied, and I can now pretty much use it for my cost allocation, right? And not only that, I what if I want to check if these tags are compliant to the standards that I have introduced last month or maybe this week. So I can even check those information by applying the condition, by putting the key whether this is really mapping to my standards. So I can give any condition like owner, and then I can go see if it is matching with the key that I'm looking for a particular set of tags, right? So pretty much I should be able to bring those information, and I can share it with the engineering team or the team that created the resource with these tags, and they can go correct it either manually or automatically using the tools. So bottom line, we are providing an option for the customers to set the tags in a much more compliance way or a governance, and on the other side, they're also making sure that the what if the users are using direct cloud portal, or they're using Terraform or any other script or a API or SDK? Well, you may not have some enforcement there, but if they have created those resources, well, here is what they can actually do in order to identify if those resources that are not having any tags, they can easily identify and share it with the teams in order to fix it. Great. So I think that's pretty much I wanted to cover for today. So if I look at kind of covered the MPA and the usage recommendation, especially the storage, how do you uh, identify the unassociated disks and the waste and the ability to get into the details and then delete the disks. And on the other side, for the CBDs, we are now offering the RA recommendation, especially for the Azure. We are providing the RA recommendations, and yeah, rest all are the same capability that I explained over and over. So let me see if I have any questions. Let me stop sharing my screen. Okay, I don't see any questions in the question panel, or maybe let me unmute. Let me see if I can unmute or not. Or you can raise your hand and I can unmute you, your line, so that you can post a question. Uh, I'm sorry, uh, the tool, I mean, the WebEx won't allow me to unmute all the participants. So if you have any questions, please uh, raise your hand and I should be able to unmute, or please put your name in the chat. I can unmute yours in your line. Okay, let me see if well, if there are no questions, we can probably close the call. Maybe think yeah, much early. Okay, very good. So, like I mentioned, this call is being recorded, and I will, share the recording offline, and I will share the presentation also offline. Feel free to reach out to me or the team. We'll be able to help you with all the details, and let me know if any customers are interested to see the what's new in 24.2. I'll be happy to give a detailed demo. So thanks a lot, team, and have a great rest of the day and stay safe. Take care. Bye.